kick the ball. That's perfectly legal. No problem with kicking the ball with your foot. A very alert move there, but now Carolina trying to force the ball into the crease is having it knocked away from him time and time again, but recontrolled by number 34, Terry Martinello.
Carolina's one.
Penalty's all over now as Hopkins comes back in. The shot taken there will go off the foot of one of the defensemen, and will run out of bounds, and alertly goes back to number 13. Goes back to number 13 for
13
North
is
Carolina,
Gary
Gary
Burns.
Burns.
But Marty Bergen took that shot right in the body, kicked it right back out, and went about 50 yards behind him. The extra man for North Carolina is terribly disappointing. I can't believe they're not getting any good cuts, not getting any good shots, and they have no qualms whatsoever about feeding the crease on that extra man situation. They're 1 for 5 on the day on extra man.
Ball picked up by Lance Schneck over to Kevin Kilner. Kilner will clear the ball easily across the midfield line as North Carolina drops back in to play defense.
Now we're seeing Hopkins making a change on the fly. That midfield unit's coming out. They're putting some offensive ball players in. Kilner heads up the defensive middies. They call him the rope unit on the Johns Hopkins team, and named after the old rope-a-dope.
Henry Ciccarone with the ball. As they get Jimmy Zafuto back in the game. Zafuto comes back in by virtue of the penalty being expired. Having expired. Back to Jeff Cook. Cook and number 37, Johnny House. Cook decides to take House on a trip around the goal. Hopkins getting very, very wide now, pulling all the way out 20 yards in front of the goal, trying to pull Carolina out of that zone defense, and it looks like they've done it fairly successfully. Now House all alone, nobody to help him as Cook rolls back in towards the goal. Back over to Jeff Harris. Harris picked up there by Jamie Allen.
We talked about their power style of Johns Hopkins. They have 8 goals today, according to my stats, that are unassisted, which means they're going one-on-one, looking for that bull move and a good shot from out front, and they've got the cannons to make it work.
Here comes Chick Jr. Looks inside, does not draw anybody. They give it off to Cantelli. Cantelli back over to Cook. Hopkins, of course, not stalling here. The rule governing stalling is a judgment rule by the official. If he thinks you're stalling, he will tell you must go to the goal. He will tell the defense that he must play you. And if you don't do that, you'll lose possession of the ball. If those two things do not occur, the team with the ball will lose possession.
Just saw a great play by Jamie Allen, who slid over to pick up Brendan Schneck, who is driving the left side of the pipe. You'll see Brendan Schneck drive the pipe. Now watch this. Now watch Jamie Allen, number 12, come and give help. Number 12 comes right into your screen. There he is. He double teams on Schneck, and he flips that ball out of bounds. Schneck goes back, dives, but he's a little bit too late. The ball goes to North Carolina. Great play by Jamie Allen.
10 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in this ball game. Johns Hopkins 11, North Carolina 10. As we see Tommy Sears bringing up every clear, very critical at this point in the game. And Carolina certainly does not want to throw the ball away, so we get him a few moments ago on a clear. Now one of the defensemen, there are a lot of heat. They're not getting the pass off, and that's the problem. The defensemen, once they come down the attack into the field, they get a tremendous amount of pressure from the Hopkins defense, and they can't find anybody to throw the ball to.
Absolutely. They've got to hit that. The attack has to come up and help out, and they've got to get that second pass to make it a success.
Now Dave Black with the ball. Bounces it back to Brian Holman. Up to Kevin Kilner. Kilner looks up and he cannot find an opening, so he put it back towards their own goal again.
Watch the patience that Hopkins uses. It's textbook, Bob. And again, we talked about North Carolina's inability to bring it up. They'll make 60% of a good clear, but against Hopkins, if you don't do it 100% right, you're not going to be successful.
Here's the 2-1-1 up to Dave Black. He's wide open. He'll just dance across the midline and give it off on the far side to number 19, Jeff Harris. And they throw the ball away, but backed up nicely by Jeff Cook. That's number 18, Henry Ciccarone. We see now who brought the ball down.
Zafuto had his eye on the net. He took his eye off the ball. He was getting ready to make a shot, and that's why that ball missed his stick.
What he now is, once again, Hopkins goes into their very, very deliberate offense. Cook pulling all the way out, going against Haas. He'll try to roll dodge if he gets close to the goal. Comes back in, gets a double team, puts back out front to Brendan Schneck. Quickly over to Ciccarone Jr. He fires over top of the goal. Backed up back there by Carolina. Zafuto a little late getting over, and Kevin Griswold will get possession of the ball. Excuse me, not Kevin, that would be number 20, not Kevin Griswold, but number 20 would be John Schipper.
That was a great play by Cook. They just it up to Schneck. Schneck came in and all the time, I think, wanted to draw the player and get it over to Ciccarone to let him take that high crank shot from about 15 yards out. He got the shot, but it was a little bit high of the net.
Now they're using midfielders to come up, bring the ball up, and that's Doug Hall, clears it easily. You know, Leaf, I'm wondering if this slow-down offense Hopkins has been using is going to hurt their momentum a little bit.
It can do that, and we'll have to wait to see because the next 8 minutes will tell us.
Pete Vocal now rolls in, fires, and he scores! shooting on the run for quite a while as Vocal fires it in the upper left-hand corner. And North Carolina has tied this game 11-all with 8:21 remaining.
That could be very deciding because you get the feeling that Hopkins is in total control of the game, yet the score is tied. Now this is the kind of thing that Carolina's been doing all day long. They've got the cannons out front. They love to shoot from out front. Vocal comes in, makes a nifty little move. He's got a 16-yard shot. That's the one he wants. Look at that nice fluid motion with a beautiful screen by Hill. Look at Monty Hill out in front who blocked the goalie's vision, and the ball went to the upper left-hand corner. Holman was disgusted because he knew the screen was perfectly placed by Monty Hill, number 15.
You know, in the semifinal, North Carolina was playing Navy, and late in the third quarter, the game was tied 6-all. It ended up 17-8 North Carolina. So they don't slow down in the fourth quarter. They pour it on in the fourth quarter.
They're a team like Hopkins that if you give them a crack, if you break down in the important structure of your game, they'll take advantage of it. They've got an explosive attack, as you just pointed out, and if Hopkins lets up a little bit with their slow-down tactics, if they can get the transition game going, Hopkins may find themselves in trouble.
A little bit of pressure now being applied by the Carolina attack on the Hopkins clearing personnel. Jeff Kendall now under a lot of pressure on the far side by Monty Hill, I believe it is. Lance Schneck. Schneck has a 2-on-1, but he's not going to get it cleared this easily. Now in the middle, Kiefer in some trouble. He's being picked up, but he has it cleared easily. Good stick work by the Hopkins defenseman.
Bobby, talk about momentum. The last 3 goals have been scored by North Carolina. Hopkins hasn't scored since 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Doug Hall, Burnett, and Vogel have tallied for North Carolina, and that can mean a lot for momentum when you only have 7 minutes left in the championship game. The score is all tied.
11-all in the NCAA Division I championship.
Definitely some sudden death overtime possibilities.
Now back out front. Hopkins once again staying very, very wide, pulling Carolina out of the zone. Here comes Cook. 5 goals so far today. Now he's trying to Cook almost scores another one as it bounces right off the top pipe on a heck of a shot by Jeff Cook. Backed up over on the far side. We'll see what happens.
Wait a minute, they're checking the net.
If it's a goal, we'll check to see if it's a hole in the net. If it will, it'll be Cook's 6th goal.
That ball may have ripped right through the net. They're going to read it right for it right now. Look, there's a hole. We're going to get the benefit of the replay. Of course, the referees won't. They're going to have to make a very tough judgment call. Cook put his hands up immediately after the shot went by the net. The net did ripple, but sometimes the goalie's stick goes back and hits the net, and it looks as if the ball hit it when actually it didn't. They're trying to make, here's the replay. The ball goes up. Yes, indeed, it looks like it could very well be. Yes, I think it was. It looked like it had to be a goal because the net ripples and the goalie stick did not hit it, which means that the ball was the only thing that could have. That ball went through.
Tough to call.
It's
and they don't have
it's
the
very
advantage
tough.
on the field that we have.
They don't have the advantage of the replay. Absolutely, anything they call has to be upheld.
I would say the replay wasn't conclusive, Lee.
It really wasn't conclusive, but it's only a judgment call. I kind of guessed, only because the goalie's stick didn't look like it was in position to hit the net, that the ball went through it. But it was a very close shot there, not giving him the goal. No way they can, because, as Bob mentioned, the replay wasn't even conclusive. Judgment call all the way. They fixed the net now so that there isn't any more judgment call. The ball will stay in Hopkins' possession. And still 11-11 tie.
We'll see now what happens as Hopkins goes back on offense. Joe Saletti, number 12 with the ball.
Bob, you take away that goal, you take away the 2 goals they missed at the change of the quarters.
That's a different ball game, right?
You could have, yeah, a 3-goal lead right now.
Back out to Jeff Cook. Hopkins staying wide to pull North Carolina out of the zone defense they've been playing most of the game. Back out to Saletti. Hopkins being very patient. 6:45 remaining in this fourth quarter, the final quarter of action in the NCAA Division I Lacrosse Championship.
This whole place is really hushed. They're waiting for Hopkins to do their thing.
Cook's got a double team now. The ball knocked down. And the best time to run your double team is when the man has his back to you, and that's what happened there. But Saputo alertly picks the ball up. And so Hopkins maintains possession. Possession critical here with 6 minutes and 21 seconds remaining in the game.
Cook really took a double team there, but he can take those. He is a very stocky, very strong ball player. Here's Coach Henry Ciccarone waving off his midfield. He wants to change on the fly. You'll see him come off one by one as Jeff Cook on the screen is going to control the ball. He'll keep it there. Nobody will pressure him because he's too great a ball player. Here's the sideline. You see Coach Scroggs, and farther up you see the players running on and off. Here they come. There's Jeff Kendall.
Now like a warning to keep the ball in play. Charlie Phillips, the referee, has told them not to stall, keep the ball in play, and if the ball goes out of the box, even on a lost pass, possession will go over to North Carolina.
Watch Schneck.
Back inside to Cook. And a nice save by Tommy Sears at a point-blank shot. Sears looks for the quick opening, but he can't find it. He'll have to go back and set up behind the goal.
Great play. 3 of the best players on the field. Schneck to Cook, and a great save, a fantastic, unbelievable save by Sears, snuffing him at the goal.
Monty Hill keeps it in play on an alert play, but here comes Dougie Hall. Dougie Hall rolling in, fires and scores!
Unbelievable. Dougie Hall, the converted attackman, comes in with a fast break. He waited, he faked once, he faked twice, and he dished it into the far side of the net to beat Holman and go into the lead for North Carolina Tar Heels. The first time ever in postseason championship game. And with 5 minutes left, it's their lead, 12-11. We'll take a look at it.
Starts with Monty Hill on a great play, getting the ball in play.
Unbelievable. That's right. It comes down. Doug Hall gets the fast break. You see the ball sift through, and here's Hall running through with his speed. Now watch him. He takes his time. He lets that Carswell misses for the defense. Doug Hall comes in, sights it up, takes his time, and fires it past home into the far pipe. And that gives him a 1-goal lead. Very crucial lead. I tell you, the breaks are going their way. Take away 3 goals from Hopkins, and now they've got the 1-goal lead.
Dennison on a fast break. But it's played beautifully by Lance Schneck as Lance Schneck turns back Mike Burnett and kills the fast break. We'll wait to see if Willie Scroggs slows the ball down. 5:10 remaining. He's up by 1 goal. North Carolina up by 1 goal. Here comes Burnett.
I'd say if Willie Scroggs slows down, that's going to be a crucial mistake. This team thrives on speed, quickness, and really running and gunning. They're into their fluid motion. They've scored 1, 2, 3, 4. The last 4 goals have been all Carolina. That's their game. Turn them loose and let them go.
Carolina with a 3-man stack in front of the goal. Now 1 man cuts downhill. Now here comes Burnett. Burnett has his man beat. Turns and fires to the back-handed shot right between the legs of Brian Holman. And Carolina goes up by 2.
A fantastic play. Unbelievable by Burnett, number 3. Mr. Everything for this North Carolina Tar Heel team. He's got 22 goals and 30 assists. It's a praying man's delight. And I'm
That's an little motion we have there. 4:45 remaining in this game.
Here's Burnett. This is an unbelievable shot. This guy is really class all the way. Watch the move. Behind the back, right around the defenseman's legs. Holman had no chance to save that ball. 13-11 with 4 minutes and 45 seconds left. There's a timeout on the field, and now Hopkins has their backs against the wall. Defending national champions are being threatened by the Tar Heels, who 2 years ago never would have dreamed that they'd be here today.
4:45 remaining in this game, and North Carolina with their largest lead of the game. In fact, I think it's the first time Carolina's led in this game, I believe.
I think it is, yeah. Back again to those 3 goals. Hopkins just had, we saw the one on the replay, 1 goal, or a questionable goal. Could have been a goal by Hook, but they didn't count it, and rightfully so. It was questionable, but the 2 that they shot in and were legitimate goals, but time had expired, not once, but twice earlier in this game. They've been taken away, and now North Carolina has the 2-goal edge.
4:45 remaining in the NCAA Division I Lacrosse Championship game, and it's been a great game, everything it was billed to be. And there's Mike Burnett.
Mr. Everything for North Carolina. He really has proven himself here today. He leads the team again with points. He's got 22 goals in the year, 30 assists, very unselfish. That, by the way, is not a great amount of points, 52. The reason being that this team is so well spread out in their offense. Everybody scores, everybody contributes, and they've got so many guns that one guy doesn't have to carry the whole load.
Record attendance here today, 22,100.
There's Coach Willie Scroggs. He has to feel pretty good, but you won't see him show the emotion. Very quiet, low-key individual.
Now it's Howie Offit and Stenerson. They each face off now, super critical. Stenerson runs after it. Dougie Hall runs after it. Stenerson picks it up, and Carolina's going to have the ball on offense with 4 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in this game.
You know, winning.
Here comes Stenerson rolling in, and he's knocked down by Brendan Schneck on a heck of a hit. Schneck levels Stenerson, and Stenerson's 215 pounds. The ball kept back in play. 2 men lose it. Now back towards the Hopkins goal. We'll see what this call is.
The hitting is unbelievable. Hopkins knows they have to get the ball. What I was going to say, Bob, is that Hopkins has rarely been in this position. With 4 minutes left, they're 2 goals down.
A critical penalty call right now. An unsportsmanlike conduct call goes against Coach Henry Ciccarone. And Hopkins will be down a man for a minute with 4:19 remaining.
Watch the screen. We've got the hit. Here's Black bringing up a great shot with the handheld on the sideline. You see it coming in. And there's Burnett making the move. Black comes right at you. Look at this. Right to the sideline. Beautiful action. And the ball stayed on the field for another 3 or 4, 40 seconds. The culmination of it, as Bob has mentioned, is that there's been an unsportsmanlike call against the bench of Hopkins. Is that right, Bob?
Coach Henry Ciccarone and his assistants were doing everything they could to calm down Chick, as we see him now. But a very, very intense man, and probably the best coach at the moment in college lacrosse, certainly with the best record in college lacrosse over the last 4 years.
Certainly has the best record. 22 straight wins coming into this game. 3 straight national championships, unequaled by any team. Going for his 4th this year, of course. He's won 47 of the last 48 games. This guy can really coach a team.
There we see Jeff Cook Jeff Cook waiting for an opportunity to go back and get try for his 6th goal of the day.
What you're going to see now is that, I missed the call, is it a 3-minute unsportsmanlike?
No, it's just 1 minute.
Just a 1-minute penalty that cannot be broken. In other words, if they score a goal,
it's a maligning leap. It's a maligning call, which I don't believe it was. But then it's a full serve time penalty. However, we believe this just to be an unsportsmanlike, and if Hopkins can get the ball back, they will be even.
All right, you'll see North Carolina eat up most of the 60 seconds and then try to get one good hard shot off.
Back over on the far side, almost thrown away. Carolina has to be very deliberate here into Terry Martinello.
We're underneath 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 56 seconds left.
Back into Johnny Hillmeyer. There's a shot, a nice save inside by Brian Holman. Shot taken from outside by Pete Vocal. You'll see a lot of pressure here now from Carolina on the ride. Up to Dave Black. Black gives it back to Holman. Holman gives it quickly over to Lance Schneck. They're trying to kill the time on this penalty. Back to Holman, now on the far side. Time running off. 3:29 remaining in this game. Hopkins trying to kill the penalty. Penalty still in. Now Holman finds a man upfield.
Bob, I would like to know the stats, but Hopkins so far has been shut out in the 4th quarter, and there aren't very many quarters of lacrosse that Johns Hopkins gets shut out in.
Peter Scott now in on attack. The penalty's all over. North Carolina getting one shot from the outside. Mike McGee, Joe Saletti, and Jeff Kendall now in on midfield offense for Hopkins. Here comes Kendall.
Whichever team wins this game is going to enjoy an undefeated season.
Jeff Cook now pushing in against Haas. Fires a shot, bounces off Haas' legs, goes out of bounds and into the stands. Souvenir for a young man over there.
You know, if I'm not mistaken, Jeff Haas, Coach Scroggs has kept Haas on Cook the whole game, even though for one period of time, 2 quarters in particular, Cook scored 4 out of the 5 goals. There's Barnett.
Good shot of Mike Burnett.
But Coach Scroggs stayed with Haas. He's been playing Cook very, very strong, helping to shut out the Hopkins team in the last quarter so far.
Here comes Chick Jr. 2:52 remaining in this game. He'll put the ball back behind Zaputo. Back out front. A good shot inside. And they fire, and the ball bounces just wide of the goal as Cook was nailed at the last minute. Plenty of time to score 2, 3, or 4 goals for that matter.
Johnny Haas made a great check right there, and he has to get a new stick. His stick is bent. He made a check against Cook to save that from being a real hard shot. His aluminum pole was bent in the process. Now he's over there trying to get new equipment. He's holding up. If he doesn't hurry, he could get a delay of game call.
Now they call for play to begin. Back up to Zaputo. Over the far side. Cook once again fires. A great save by Tommy Sears. A great save on a low screamer off Jeff Cook's stick. And Sears with the pick outlet pass. Here comes North Carolina. They're across the midfield line. They're going back on offense.
2 minutes and 26 seconds left. 2.5.
Ball knocked down. A good play by Chickaroni Jr., but picked up alertly over there by number 11. That's Tommy Federico.
Federico, the team captain.
Still no possession. The ball rolling back in. Picked up nicely over there by Jamie Allen. Allen finds a man open. It's Burnett. And a good play by Brian Holman. Brian Holman alertly picks the ball up. Burnett's got it though. Now flip back in. Here comes a man. And a shot taken inside by Tommy Federico. And backed up. Carolina puts the pressure on. 1:58 remaining in the game. North Carolina 13.
Great
Johns Hopkins
stick
11. And a great effort by Brian Holman.
Incredible. That ball was all over the field, and you got to give Hopkins credit. Holman came out 20 yards out of the crease. Timeout by North Carolina because they want to settle things down. They're in control, and they want to stay that way. With only 2 minutes left, they don't want that running and gunning. Here comes Griswold off the field. All these players are giving it all. They're 100% out right now. Very hot and humid day, and they're putting it all on the field right now.
As we heard a great term used at the Division III championship game, one coach said that it's not a losing team, it's only a first-place team and a second-place team. Certainly that applies here today. 2 great lacrosse teams, North Carolina and Johns Hopkins.
Bob, these teams that were 1 and 2 ranked most of the year. The stats for the year, the average stats per game, show you how evenly matched they are. Each team takes 50 shots per game, 150, 152. Each team averages 17 goals a game. Each team has 10 or 11 assists per game, and the only difference really is in the ground balls, which is 62 for Hopkins or 63 and 72 for the North Carolina Tar Heels on the average. Very well matched, very evenly matched, and 2 great teams. We had a chance to talk to Coach Henry Ciccarone, who right now needs a goal very, very badly, and we're going to find out what he's going to do to get that goal.
Well, if we need a goal late in the game, at that time I'll make that decision and see who is handling the ball best for us offensively and a guy that I think has the best chance of scoring. At this point, I haven't predetermined that.
Well, if he goes according to those words, he's going to have to go to Jeff Cook, Bob. Jeff Cook has
Absolutely.
dominated at times today, and he's the guy that's been going to the Cooker, as they say, which is named after him.
Some Carolina fans there with their blue lei around their neck. Double teaming the ball, Brian Holman, a very risky thing to do. Brian Holman out of the goal, and they try to get the pass quickly in to an open goal, and they fire and score. Carolina has scored a very, very risky, chancy thing that Johns Hopkins did. Carolina took advantage on a great play, a lead pass inside. I believe it went to number 18, to Jeff Homeyer.
It was Jeff Homeyer.
And Homeyer fires the goal that puts Carolina on top by 3.
Those are the kind of things, I'll tell you, Hopkins has not been in this situation. I don't know how long it's been to where they had to pull a goalie out. It's definitely something they don't practice. And they had Holman out of the goal, double teaming the baseline. North Carolina knew it. They fed Homeyer with an over-the-shoulder pass that came right inside his defender, and he had no goalie to shoot against, dumped it right in, and that gives him a 3-goal cushion. It looks like it may be all over with 1 minute and 54 seconds left.
Ball pops straight up in the air. It'll be run down by Ciccarone. Ciccarone does not get it, however. Peter Vocal does not get it. And now it's snared neatly off the grass. A fast break. Here comes Burnett rolling in. Cradles once. Fires wide of the goal on the right-hand side as Brian Holman had dropped to the ground to stop the low shot. I know Burnett would like to have that back one more step.
Oh, you're not kidding. One-on-one with a goalie, that's every attack man's dream. And that was a beautiful fast break. All the times that Hopkins has controlled the faceoff, now's when they need one. But North Carolina picks it up. And here comes the fast break. Burnett dishes it off to the right side. It's very much of an accuracy shot. He has to hit that pipe or maybe within 3 inches of it. He missed it, but he maintained possession for the Tar Heels.
Now Carolina will be pressured to keep the ball inside the box. Big feed backside over to Dougie Hall. Hall has a man open, is wide open, comes out and fires. A nice save by Brian Holman. As Carolina doesn't know anything about stalling, they go right to the cooker. Now Kevin Kilner with the ball, under a lot of pressure. Being run down by Griswold, picked up by Kilner. 1 minute and 22 seconds showing on the clock. And that'll be a call coming, it'll be a hold call coming up against North Carolina.
Hold call on Griswold. Griswold just, again, putting it all on the field. He's 100% hustle. Here's an All-American midfielder who was switched to attack. Again, here's Griswold, 25. Watch him come flying in. He's going over the head to try to get to the stick. He brushed the head too much, but the right hand on the hip. See the right hand? It came down off the stick hand, came down on the hip. That's a hold call, and Hopkins goes up. They need this goal desperately, and there's been a timeout called on the field. Hopkins calls it. They've got to get a goal here. Not only that, they need to get 2 more after it. So they're going to make some plans right now for the play they want, and then what they're going to do afterwards.
1:21 remaining in this game. North Carolina 14, Johns Hopkins 11.
Hopkins still, Bob, has been shut out in the 4th quarter. I bet you that's some kind of rarity.
I don't recall Hopkins being shut out in any quarter, and particularly the 4th quarter of a game where they had to have a goal. Looking down now, both teams huddled up.
Last
North Carolina
6 goals have been scored. It was 11-8 at one point in the 3rd quarter. The last 6 goals have been scored by North Carolina, which shows you a lot about this team's class. First time in the championships. Here they are in a sudden situation of where they've got to score. They're down by 3 goals. It could very easily have been Hopkins going ahead by 5 or 6, which would have put it out of reach. But just the other thing happened. They scored 6 straight goals, and now they're ahead 14-11. They're in the catbird seat with 1 minute and 20 seconds left.
That last goal that was scored, of course, by Homeyer is a demonstration of the great speed of this North Carolina team, where Homeyer simply outran the defenseman in the race to the goal. Here comes Brendan Schneck over to Ciccarone. Ciccarone fires a bouncer wide of the goal, the left-hand side, and Hopkins desperately needs a goal here. 1:13 remaining.
That play was set up so that they wanted to get the slide to Schneck and then dish to Ciccarone for his shot, but North Carolina is not taking the bait. They're going to make whoever shoots, they're going to make him shoot from a good 18, 20 yards out, and give him nothing easy on the crease. They don't care who shoots.
Now back out to Brendan Schneck. Schneck's going to fire as soon as he can get an opening. There he fires and scores as he comes racing in front of the goal. We're starting to see Brendan Schneck take charge here as Hopkins needs a goal. They move back to within 2. 1:08 remaining. North Carolina 14, Johns Hopkins 12.
So much for the shutout in the 4th quarter, and that's why it doesn't happen to Hopkins very often, because they have great players like Brendan Schneck. Watch the face dodge. He comes in, pulls his stick back, and then when the guy goes behind, no, he doesn't go behind. He just comes right across the face of the crease, 10 yards in front, and just scoots it right in real low and hard on goalie Tommy Sears. A great shot, a fantastic shot by one of the better players, if not the best player on this field. You see the fans lying on the side of the perimeter of the field, Bob. It's going to be mayhem here in about 1 minute and 20 seconds, 1 minute and 8 seconds.
The face-off all critical now. Stenerson against Offit. Stenerson steps inside, rotates around, still no possession. Offit gets it, he's got the ball. He roses it off to Ciccarone. Cook loses it. Cook under a lot of pressure. He falls down. Burnett's trying to get the ball away from him. Cook still controls. Great effort by Jeff Cook. Cook's racing in. 49 seconds showing on the clock. They need 2. Cook rolls it, he fires and scores! Cook scores! It's now 14 to 12, 14 to 13. North Carolina over Johns Hopkins. 45 seconds showing on the clock.
You just saw one of the greatest plays ever at any time by any lacrosse player. Jeff Cook single-handedly going through 5 or 6 players. You're going to see it again. We missed the part when he was on his back, dodging about 3 or 4 players, but here he is unassisted all the way down the field. He's taken out of the play with a beautiful check, and he put it in from about 10 yards out. This guy can do it all. Schneck and Cook, you're going to see him go down for the last 45 seconds. It's not over yet, Bob.
Now Stenerson against Offit. Face-off extremely critical here. 1 goal difference. North Carolina 14, Johns Hopkins 13. 45 seconds remaining in this game. Stenerson flips it out and rolls towards the Hopkins goal. It's an offsides. Offsides as Lance Schneck broke over the line too soon. Schneck trying desperately to get possession of the ball. Released a little too soon. Charlie Phillips right on top of the play, makes the good call, and now Carolina has possession.
You can't break that line until possession is called by the referee. Schneck wanted to get the ball in his stick and take off and have it called simultaneously. He was a half a beat too quick, anticipating it. He needed to get it down. Now they're in trouble.
There are easily several thousand people ringing the field here. We don't know if they're Carolina fans or they're Hopkins fans, but they've seen a terrific, a super lacrosse game.
They're all
North Carolina leading.
Ladies and gentlemen, U.S. please.
We're having an announcement.
The officials have asked that spectators remove themselves 10 yards from the sideline.
Now they've asked that the spectators get 10 yards from the sideline. As Bob has just mentioned, we've got thousands and thousands of fans, each and every one of them a lacrosse lover, seeing the greatest game of the year right here. A 1-goal difference between the 1 and 2 ranked team in the country, an upset in the making, the 2 team over the 1 team.
And really that's for their own safety, Leaf, because that ball comes anywhere between 90 and 100 miles an hour in a shot. And most spectators aren't alert to the fact the shot's coming their way. They're watching all the action, and someone could definitely be injured. And also a player running out of bounds could hurt someone. Now, Carolina's holding the ball. They're on offense. 30 seconds remaining in this game.
That's right. It's the 4 corners for Carolina, and you can see him set it up just like you've seen the basketball team do.
Burnett pulls between 2 men. Looks back out front. They give it off to Local. Now a feed inside. Oh, nice snare, and Griswold is hammered as he loses the ball. Carswell under a lot of pressure. Griswold hacking away at Carswell. The ball rolls out of bounds on the line, and it'll go over to North Carolina. Griswold knew he lost the ball. He knew he had to get it back, so he chased Carswell all the way down and finally ran the ball out of bounds.
Carswell made an excellent play too, but his foot was out of bounds and he couldn't do anything about it. Only 12 seconds left.
Griswold and Lance Schneck. The matchup on the sideline.
You'll see Griswold just take off.
Double team now. Here comes Brendan Schneck. The Schneck brothers are going to try to stop Griswold. Griswold, a long lob pass in the back in the corner to Mike Burnett. And we'll see what the call is.
They want the ball back. For some reason, they want to start the play over, but if they do that, they're going to have to, well, the clock hasn't been effective. They're going to start it over.
Not moved. It's still 12 seconds. Now here comes Griswold. Griswold under a lot of pressure. Gets by Lance Schneck. Schneck checks the ball out of bounds. And Hopkins will gain possession with 7 seconds on the clock.
I would say the chances are 1 in a jillion that they can do this. We're just seeing Holman come back on the field. Holman was not in. He was out of the goal. They had absolutely no goalie in there, something we didn't recognize. They were double teaming the ball with no goalie, and it worked. But 7 seconds is not much time to get the ball all the way up. You're going to see a Gilman clear here, without question. Now we're going to bring it up. Here's Brendan Schneck on the end line. Brendan Schneck's going to Gilman it. He fires it.
5,
he takes it all the way up the field. And it's blocked down by the North Carolina players. And watch North Carolina come.
It's all over. North Carolina has won the Division I NCAA Lacrosse Championship. And thousands of people are pouring out onto the field. What a scene. North Carolina, the champs. They've upset Hopkins 14 to 13. And we'll just take a look at it right now. Look at the Carolina players jumping all over their coach.
Unbelievable. Watch the fans. Here's the North Carolina tearing the net apart. Souvenir net here for all the fans that came so far from this North Carolina Tar Heel team who 10 years ago didn't even know what a lacrosse stick was. And now they're seeing the beauty of the game played at its finest moment, the championship at Division I. They are now the reigning champions, beating the best team ever, Johns Hopkins, who historically is right there in the playoffs.
North Carolina, the players unbelievably happy, and Johns Hopkins a little disconsolate, probably more than a little disconsolate, but they have nothing to be ashamed of, losing to North Carolina 14 to 13 and winning 3 national championships in the last 4 years.
Absolutely. If you look at the scoring, it's just like we thought it would be. Here we are, 14 to 13. Here's a very, very happy North Carolina team. And we're going to have a chance to see some of the controversy, the controversial goal when we come back in a minute or two. But right now, let's just gloat with the fact that two of the greatest teams to ever play the game were in a great representative championship game with North Carolina squeaking out in a 14-13 victory over a real class Johns Hopkins Blue Jay team.
You got to think back also, Leaf. Just before about the middle of the fourth quarter, when Hopkins slowed the ball down. And we'll have a chance to look at that and more when we come back in just a moment.
Good job.
There you see the final score of the NCAA Division I championship game. North Carolina 14, Johns Hopkins 13. And now down to the field and Leif Elsmo.
Thank you very much, Bob. As you can see, we're right in the middle of a little bit of mayhem here. These boys from North Carolina are very, very proud of what they have done. They've taken home the championship, 12-0, perfect season. I'm with Coach Willie Scroggs. Willie, fantastic game. It went right down to the wire like we thought it would against a great Hopkins team. Your thoughts?
I thought that our kids hung in by a couple goals. But we didn't lose our poise. We kept trying. We kept coming after them. And we got some goals near the end of the game. Caught them in a situation where they had to chase us a little bit and pulled away. And I'm very proud our kids did not fold against this fine Hopkins team.
They really did. And I've got to say that it was in the fourth quarter that the game was held to no scores for Hopkins. So they were almost shut out until the last 2 minutes of the game. That had to be unexpected for your part, Willie.
I didn't realize that. I'm the worst guy in the world for statistics. I don't know what the score was. I still don't even know what the score was of the game. I think we won by a goal. Our kids hung in, and Hopkins a fine team.
Started off a little bit slow. Tommy Sears looks like he wasn't judging the ball very well because maybe of the grass that was underneath his feet. Was that a problem to him? Did he mention that?
Well, they got great shooters, and their kids shoot the ball. They release it real quick. Brendan Schneck and Jeff Cook, you never know where they're going high or low with the ball, and I don't think it was the time he wasn't playing well. It's just that they're fine shooters.
Well, fantastic job by you, Willie Scroggs. 12-0 year. I don't know where you go from here. Next year, now you've got a reputation to uphold. We're going to go back up to Bob Smith and hopefully get some more interviews in just a minute.
Thank you, Leif. And there, once again, you see the final score. North Carolina 14, Johns Hopkins 13. It might have been a slightly different story, however, if Johns Hopkins had gotten a couple of breaks, a couple of goals that were scored right at the end of quarters when time had run out, and then a controversial goal that was not a goal. We'll see it here now. Jeff Cook rolling in, goes left against Johnny Haas, comes back right and bounces a shot that goes over top of Tommy Sears. You'll see Sears' stick never touches the ball. It appears either to go over top of the goal or through the net. The Johns Hopkins players protested that the ball went through the net, and the officials did, in fact, repair a small hole in the net. But it goes all for naught, as the goal was not allowed, and North Carolina is the champion of the NCAA Division I in lacrosse. We want to thank everyone who's made our stay so comfortable here at Princeton University. Athletic Director Bob Meislich, Sports Information Director Steve Rosinski, his assistant Gene Willis, lacrosse coach Mike Hanna. We want to thank everyone down the truck also, of course, Joe Harlan, our producer, Sheldon Schemmer, our director, Howard Schemmer, our field director, and our executive producer, Ed Baruch. So for Bob Smith and Leif Elsmo, it's been a very, very fine day here at Princeton. Once again, the final score, North Carolina 14, Johns Hopkins 13.